Good morning. Oh, it's evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining this beautiful session. While I'm waiting for others to join the call, I do appreciate, your time for being a part of this beautiful time, this session. We're waiting for others to join us. Waiting for others to join us. Thank you for joining, Femi. Tofumi, thank you for joining. Who else do I have on the call today? Samuel Peter, thank you. Ronke, thank you. Eunice, thank you. Guys, keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. I just want to take off the waiting room and we will get started. We don't have a lot of time today. I will disable microphone for all attendees and then I will take away the virtual waiting room so that people can easily join the call. It's a beautiful evening here. We currently have. Oh, I'm admitting people into the waiting room. Sorry. People are popping in now. People are popping in. We've got a lot of people in the waiting room. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session. Um, okay, let's just do another 2 minutes before people join. Another 2 minutes, and we will get started. I mean, I don't want to keep you waiting. I don't want to keep you waiting. It's not in my DNA to keep people waiting. It's not in my DNA at all. Today, we've got an amazing session planned. The goal is we've got an amazing time, planned for everybody. And I want us to have a good time. I really want us to have a good time. Now, Imole, will give you an access now. I'll give you access now because you're my organ now. I'll give you access. Okay, guys, we've got 3 major speakers today that will be joining us. Please mute yourself, mute yourself, mute yourself, mute yourself. We will be getting started soon. Soon, 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 soon. Give me another few seconds and we will get started. Okay. I'm wondering why you guys have your videos off anyway. I mean, it's late. It's late for so many people. It's late. I don't know where you're calling from. Guys, let us start this way. Please go into the chat room, everybody. Quickly, let's do that quickly. Go into the chat room. Tell us 2 things about yourself, your current location, and the tech skill that you are excited about. Your current location and the tech skill that you are excited about. Quickly go into the chat room, your current location and the tech skill that you are excited about. Those are the 2 initial things that I would like to know, quickly before we get started. Or as we are getting started. 2 quick things, your current location and the tech skill that you are excited about. In the next 2 minutes, guys, we will be getting started. All right, your current location and the tech skill that you're excited about. We started. Let's see. What do we have here? Femi based in Liverpool, interested in product management. Femi, thank you for joining. How is Liverpool today? I hope the weather is cool in Liverpool. Okay. Who else do we have here? Let me see what we have in the chat room. Joy, generative AI. Okay, that's some interesting thing. Samuel, thank you. Technology sales. Deborah lives in the UK, interested in data science. Desoji saying Mr. Utiva, you too, Mr. Lu. Oladayo, moving to the UK in 2025 Q1, interested in product and digital marketing. Emmanuel, based in Dallas, interested in business analysis. Mary Queen, okay. Please mute yourself if you're not talking. Olajumoke is here, based in Lagos, interested in front-end development. Akinsha here, data science, Lagos. Grace, what are you interested in? Jennifer, based in Manchester, product management. Godwin, product and digital marketing, based in Lagos. Okay, I'm not going to call you Comfort. Ikechukwu, based in where? Lagos. Data analytics. Port Harcourt is here. Data analytics. Okay, Grace, based in Lagos, cybersecurity. Now, the reason I'm calling this out is because I've got trainers on the call. Right, I've got coaches on the call. I've got people that I really admire, people that I really respect on the call, and I want them to know the people that are on this session so that they can spend quality time, mentoring you guys. Itayo is my name. I've got the best job on the planet. The best job on the planet. And my job is pretty much simple. I am the guy that cheerlead people into the tech space. And I don't only want to do the work of cheerleading, right? Please mute yourself if you're not talking so that I don't get a background noise from you. My job is not just cheerleading. I don't want to just do cheerleading. I want to do, cheerleading and ensuring that people actually become successful in the tech space. Eyitayo is my name. I lead the team in Utiva. I mean, when you think about Utiva, I don't have slides. I don't. So if you're expecting me, to share slides, I won't share any slide. I want to talk from my heart. Our job at Utiva is primarily, to help people, Africans, regardless of where you're based, Africans in Africa, Africans outside Africa, blacks, minorities, people of color, people like myself and you. The job is to help you guys get into the tech space and become successful in the tech space. The work is not only to help you get into the tech space, because really, there are people in the tech space that are frustrated in the tech space. Of course, there are people in the tech space that are frustrated in the tech space. So our job at Utiva is not only to help you guys get into the tech space. Our job is to help you get there and show you how to become successful in the tech space. So two things: get into the tech space and become successful in the tech space. That's the thing we're here for. That's the only thing we're here for. And that's what we're going to be doing, here. We've trained thousands of people in Utiva, right? I mean, one of the things that excites me about Utiva is that we are now a one-stop platform for everything technology skill learning. One single platform for everything technology skill learning. I see that other people are still commenting. Tofumi here, based in Lagos. What skill are you interested in? Tommy Arika, where that name sounds like someone that I know, based in the UK, business analysis. Okay. Omar, based in Lagos, product and digital marketing. Again, think about it, guys. When you get into the Utiva program, you would meet people like this in your class that are based on different geographical location. Some people are based in Nigeria, in Lagos. Some people in Africa, outside Nigeria. Some people are based in the UK. Some people are based in Canada. Some people are based in Dallas, in the US, and several, part of the world. And I was telling you about the fact that Utiva has become a one single platform for every tech skill that you would like to learn. Every tech skill that you would like to learn, from data science to data analytics to product and digital marketing to software engineering to cloud computing to UI UX design. I haven't seen any UI UX design person in the room, to skills like business analysis, any skill that you would like to learn at Utiva. Utiva has evolved into a one single platform for every tech skill that you want to learn. And the interesting thing with the work that we do at Utiva is that we also help organizations figure these things out. So it's not only, individuals that want to learn tech skills. We also have organizations that are sending, their staff members to us to train them. And I gave different names: Microsoft, Coronation Bank, Heritage Bank, Soft Alliance, Keystone Bank, GIZ, HP, Diageo, and a couple of different. And we've worked with like Bank of Industry, Wema Bank, LSCTF, Ekiti State Government, Enugu State Government, Lagos State Government. We are like everywhere, But today is not about them. Today is about you. How do you land a job in the UK? And listen, I'm not in the best position to teach you this because I don't know it. I don't know this thing. I don't know how do. I can't call myself an authority in landing a great job in the UK, but I've got people who are going to share their experiences with you today. So 3 guys, and I do apologize to the ladies in the room. I apologize to you that we don't have any lady. Today we will. The last session I hosted, we had a lady. Today is for men. So, you can learn from men. Very soon we're going to have another session where we're going to be bringing, ladies together. Ladies to join you. And another thing I want to also mention is that these 3 guys, the three of them are UK global talents. Now, let me talk a little about that. There's a program in the UK. Now, guys, drop it in the chat room if you're following me. In the chat room quickly if you're following me. Say follow it. There's a program in the United Kingdom, in the UK. It's only for those who are, maybe not only, but it's majorly for those who are in the tech space. The program is called the UK Global Talent, visa program. The visa program is given majorly to those who are in the UK. To those who are in the UK, right? To those who are, to tech talent. Sorry, I'm mixing it up. To tech talent to move into the UK. The visa is given to those who are tech talents, and it doesn't matter where you are based, in Uganda, in Botswana, in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Ghana, anywhere in the world, Pakistan. As long as you are a techie, you are a tech talent, you can apply for these endorsements and get the endorsement. Once you have the endorsement, you get the visa. The visa allows you to live, work, do business, thrive in the UK. The good thing with today is that these 3 guys are all UK global talent. Can you put your hands together for them, guys? Put your hands together for them. If you can't find the smile, the emojis, good. I've got brilliant people on the call now. Please, it's not easy. It's not easy to be endorsed as a UK global talent. It's not easy. It's not easy. And that's one of the reasons I personally celebrate these 3 guys, because these 3 guys are amazing, amazing guys. Now, before I introduce them, let me share this with you. You see, think about it for a minute. I just told you that these guys are, 3 of them are UK global talents. That means that they've been given the endorsement, by Tech Nation and by the UK government that they are talented. And the reward of that is that they granted these 3 guys, the visa to live and work in the UK. Now, think about it for a minute. How about if they never made the move to come into the tech space? How about if many years ago, when someone introduced tech to them, how about if they never made the move? How about if they doubted it? How about if, they went on to do something else? And that's the benefit of getting into the tech space. So, gentlemen and ladies, I have these 3 great guys with me today. Imole, one superstar product designer. I've watched this guy do amazing things. I've watched him do amazing things. And part of the amazing things that I watched him do from afar, he's owing me money today, is today, Imole works with NatWest. Works with NatWest as a senior product manager. Before then, he worked with ClearScore as a senior product manager, with Babylon, senior product manager. Gentlemen and ladies, welcome Imole. The second person that will be joining us today is Adiola Ajayi. Adiola Ajayi is a superstar product manager. He's a superstar product manager. How do I know? I mean, he currently works with one of the leading technology companies that has gotten into Y Combinator. He became an entrepreneur in residence, at Zinc. Before Zinc, he was an Antler. These are platforms that I so much admire that won't even select you if you are not really, really talented. I mean, I got into Antler. I know what I went through before I did that. Now, the third person is Adiolu. Adiolu is a software engineer, but Adiolu doesn't just stop at software engineering. He is at the intersection of software engineering and blockchain technology. Adiolu currently works. I don't know if his LinkedIn is updated, but he was with Swiftly. He was with Binance. Yeah, I remember Binance was with Binance. He is currently with SmartStream. Amazing work that these three guys have done. But we have just one single question for them. How did you guys, do all these things? And how do we land jobs in the tech space? Now, you guys have craved me enough. I've spent 15 minutes talking, and it's high time I hand it over to my speaker. So I'm going to start with Adeolu, and then I'll take it to Mole, and then I'll take it to Adiola. Adeolu, let me be sure that I've given you, the authority to mute yourself. Okay, I've given it to Adiola first. Let me be sure that I've given it to Mole too. I'm going to grant him mic access. Adiola, I'm going to grant you also mic access, not just mic access, and also camera access. And then I'm looking for Adiola to grant him mic, sorry, I just revoked it. Sorry. I'm going to grant you mic access, and I'm also going to grant you camera access. I think the three of you have got the access that you need. If you need extra access to share your screen, if you want to, you're more like, give me the money. See how you're looking fresh. Okay. Quickly, Adeolu, do you want to get started?
Yeah, sure.
I'm looking for Adeolu again. Adeyemo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just want to show
Hey, brother, good. I see how these three guys are just looking. You guys are looking like money. Okay, great. Over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are outside the UK, so good evening, good morning, good afternoon, regardless of whatever location you're joining from. Yeah, so thank you, Itayo, for this opportunity to be able to speak to amazing people tonight. Well, I just made a little slide. I don't know if I could share my screen.
Yeah, you can, please. I'll give you the access to share your screen.
All right, just sorry for that.
All right, I just granted you that access. And I will grant others too, because I think they also have, they might also, who knows, they might have the slides they want to share. I just granted you access to Adiola, and then Imole, I will grant you also access in case you want to share your screen. Okay, let's.
Okay, do I need to return because it's not popping up here?
Just give me a second. I think Perfect, I've done that. Let's see if it's going to work.
I don't have any option to share screen here.
It's going to be at the bottom. It's going to be at the bottom. It's going to be
at the bottom. I can only see test, pictures, and I've got my mic, cam, and breakout rooms.
Let me check again.
That's all.
Others, can you confirm that you can see that share button?
No, there's no option to share.
Let's be sure. No option to share. Okay, you can continue, and then I'll figure that out.
All right, I can just continue then. No problem.
Yeah, I'll figure that out soon. Yeah, please go ahead.
Right. I'm sure Itai already done a lot of introduction about me, so I shouldn't dive too much into that again. Well, once again, my name is Adele, by the way. I'll just be talking about strategy to getting a job in the UK. Well, I'll be speaking personally based on my own experience as a software engineer. So, as a software engineer in the UK, it's pretty much I wouldn't want to use the word difficult, and I wouldn't want to use the word easy. But yeah, it's just about you play your game right. When I first entered the UK, well, I came in as a student, and there are some couple of things I did which worked for me, which I'll be sharing today. Number one thing I realized about the UK job market is about your personality, like your personal branding as a person. As a software engineer, you have to be able to sell yourself first before you can even get someone to actually notice you. And how do you sell yourself as a software engineer in the UK? Number one thing I did was to rebrand my LinkedIn. When I say rebrand, I have to give to the recruiters what they are looking for because I have to like first study what I have to like study my page visit. I look at the keyword they're searching for. I look at the kind of people that are actually looking into my profile. So with this, I was able to strategize and rebrand my LinkedIn, and it worked for me. One of the things about LinkedIn is you have to be strategic about your keywords you use on your LinkedIn profile because a lot of recruiters. So, for example, someone looking for maybe a Java developer, and probably you don't have anything to say Java in your LinkedIn, so definitely they won't find you. So you have to be strategic about this keyword optimization. And one thing about LinkedIn is, for me, it has worked for me because since I entered into the UK, literally there is no week I don't see a recruiter reach out if I'm still in the job market or not because it's a tool. I say I find a way around, like I find an hack to it here, and it has worked for me. So one thing also about LinkedIn is a lot of time before I enter the UK though, I usually try applying for jobs, and I realize that it's usually rejection. I don't know if it's same for every other person, but to me personally, when I apply directly to jobs on LinkedIn, I got rejection. So one thing I realized about LinkedIn is it's rather than you applying for a job, it's better to position yourself in a way that it is actually the recruiter reaching out to you. And when this recruiter reaches out to you, it makes it much easier for you because we are sure of your CV getting to the hiring manager. Because when you apply to job directly, sometimes your CV might not even get to the hiring manager because there are a lot of softwares that your CV goes through and the likes. Though if you can find your way around your CV optimization, so you might be lucky and pass the ATS software screening and you get to the hiring manager. But it's better to position yourself such that it is your recruiters reaching out to you. Apart from your LinkedIn optimization, then the second thing is about your CV also. Before I entered into the UK, my CV I had for searching for job in Nigeria was working perfectly when I was in Nigeria. But when I got into the UK, when I sent those CV to the IRM, to the recruiters that reached out to me, I find out that a lot of times, a lot of them doesn't get back to me. Then I had to look in, well, like, what's wrong? Then that is when I realized that I was actually not doing the right thing then. I had to like rebrand my CV, actually like talk to some people who are in the tech space in the UK and see what their CV looks like there. I was able to use that to uh, do my own CV too. And yeah, since then, yeah, it has been working for me. A third thing also about personal branding is your portfolio as well. Though a lot of software developers doesn't have portfolio, well, I'm one of them. I don't have a portfolio. One thing I believe is my work speaks for me though. I have my LinkedIn there, I have my GitHub, and yeah, some other things that work for me. But um, it's good to have a portfolio, especially when you're just starting as a software engineer. Sometimes you might not really have a lot of traction to speak for you, but your portfolio can speak for you as well because portfolio also speaks volume. And the fourth thing about personal branding also is To be sincere, location matters. Because before I moved to the UK, right, though I got noticed by recruiters, but immediately I switched my location to the UK, I can tell you a lot of messages keep pouring in from recruiters. Compared to when I was in Nigeria, it was a total ball game entirely. So that is why I say location matters. Because since I moved to the UK, the impressions I got from recruiter is quite different from what I had from when I was in Nigeria. So you do what's best with those sort of information about personal branding. And then moving on from personal branding also, another thing that works also for me as a software engineer in the UK is remember I mentioned I came in as a student then. It's given me a lot of opportunities to really explore because I know for sure that even if a company is willing to recruit me now, I might be limited with my number of hours. So I had a lot of chance to explore different things. Number one thing I explore also is recruitment agencies, and they are divided into two. There are some matching recruitment agencies and there are some listing recruitment agencies. From the matching agency, two platforms I see that really works well for me. Number one is Akajob. Akajob kind of like match you with company. I got matched with a lot of company with Akajob, and I went through series of interviews also with them. Another company also is Code.co. Code.co, though you have to have been in the UK before you can be accepted into Code.co. Should be working with either a US company or a UK company. Yeah, before you could be accepted into Code.co. Code.co also matches you directly with recruiters. That you can chat directly with recruiters from Code.co. Then also the second part is the listing site. Though a listing site that got me my current job is IO Associates. Um, One thing about this recruitment agency is also is these recruiters reach out directly. Just like I said, you have to make your personal branding a tool for yourself first. I got poached by a recruiter from IU Associate from LinkedIn. Then he worked with me throughout the interview process at my current company I am now. One thing about this recruitment agency is once they are interested in you, once they get hold of your CV and they see that you are a right match, they try to make that extra effort to get you a job, I would say, because they will try to tailor this job match to your CV as well. Another listing agent or recruitment agent like that also is PG, I feel reg, there is Opus recruitment as well. There are a lot of them like that, but those are just the ones I work with. Also going forward, also there is also and the third part of it also is there are job boards as well. One thing about job boards is actually not for the faint-hearted, because I remember that when I first tried out job board, I tried CV Library first, and the way my phone was blasting with calls from recruiters. Because one thing about these job boards is once your CV matches with what they are looking for, they will definitely reach out to you. And a lot of recruiters keep calling, even when though it has reduced now, because one thing about job boards is once you are new to the board, it's more of it's become stale with time. But because I haven't never renew my CV with them. If I had renewed, definitely it will keep the momentum will keep up like that. But yeah, that is that. The civil library is one of them. There is Indeed, there is Read, there is Monster. There's a lot of job boards like that. But one thing about job boards, just like I said, is you must be though anyway. You since you I was in a position of looking for a tech job then, so definitely I never mind number of calls that were coming in on a daily basis. Yeah, so that was that about that. Then also there are some other methods that works also. Other methods like networking. One thing about tech job also is networking also is a good part of it. Though in the UK, yeah, there are a lot of networking opportunities. Though not as well, I say not as easy as it were for me, right? When I was in Nigeria, I attended a lot of networking events. But though being in the UK, it's a different ball game. I don't have much time like it used to be when I was in Nigeria. But notwithstanding, there are a lot of networking opportunities. There are job fairs. I remember there a lot of job fairs that were organized within the universities that I attended. And yeah, I got I got some company that got interest in me then, but due to some certain reason, some I didn't go with them, some I tried to at least follow up, and yeah, that was just it. And also there is the hidden job market as well. The hidden job market in the tech space entirely, not just not just UK alone, is there are a lot of internal recruitment that goes on. There are referrals also. Referral also is one big thing in tech space. There are a lot of jobs I have worked that happens by referral. Probably someone I've worked with, a fellow engineer I've worked with, and probably they are recruiting in his company, or a company just gets to refer me because you know that yeah, I could do the job. So that is also one thing. And also, like I mentioned, internal recruitment, there are some jobs that never got posted. So it's usually some of them are in-house, like so it has to be definitely you have to be someone that knows someone. Um, some of these jobs, or sometimes it's usually probably they needed someone on board like ASAP, and hiring is a long process. So a lot of internal recruitment like this happens just to get something done swiftly. And also, yeah, there are some job search website like for the UK, there is the gov.uk. You can go to gov.uk to find jobs, especially people looking for COS. I remember then also when I was looking for COS, I had to like tailor my job search by my some search criteria also. So you can go to gov.uk also, and there are a lot of job websites also out there as well that you can use. So that's just pretty much it about the strategies I use as a software engineer, and that works for me. And these are foolproof. These are foolproof strategic methods that I use and works for me. And with these methods, I was able to land a lot of offers, and before I settled for my current role. So that's just pretty much it for me. I don't know if there are
Yeah,
questions for now, or
thank
that
you.
would be to the end of the
Yeah,
session here.
yeah, thank you, Adeyemo. Thank you so much for that. We're coming back into a panel where we'll do questions. I know that it talked about a lot of things. If you are happy to do that, Adeolu, you might want to download the PDF version of your slides, send it to me. I'll share with everybody right here. Let's
Right.
quickly move to who's supposed to be the next person. I know I called the name in some order. Is that supposed to be Adiola or Imole? Any one person that is ready, you might want to jump in right away. Mole, over to you. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Can you hear me though?
I can hear you, but I just don't know if your screen is shareable this time.
Yeah, I think I got the prompts, but I don't have
Good.
slides.
Great. You
So
don't
I'm
have a
probably
slide.
just gonna go just go ahead and still share things with you guys. All right, cool. So my name is Imole Oluyemi. I have been in the UK now for about 4 years. And in that 4 years, I've had the privilege of working for 3 companies, and 1 in health tech and 2 in financial technology. And currently, I work with one of the UK banks. My experience will probably be slightly different from that of Adeolu, slightly, but nonetheless, I am hoping that it would help quite a lot of people on the call. Like you all know, I'm a product designer. I currently work as a senior product designer here. And of course, while a lot of people on this call are not necessarily product designers, the strategy for getting jobs would still be similar. And so that being said, I will go into some of the things that I have seen work for me switching jobs. in the UK. One of the things that I would say is a privilege, and this is connected to what Eitayo said before while he was introducing us, was that we came in on a global. I came in on a global talent visa, which means that for as far as recruiting is concerned, I wouldn't necessarily need to get a sponsorship. I wouldn't need a sponsorship to get a job. But I also know that a lot of people don't necessarily have that privilege. So what Adeolu was saying earlier, I think he will still need to, and on this call, he will still need to come back to dwell a little bit more on specifically as getting jobs from the lens of someone that actually needed sponsorship as well. And I think that would help not just folks who are in the UK already now, who are studying or on any other type of visa, but also those who are probably in Nigeria, because you could actually get a job from Nigeria here and from Nigeria to the UK, and you get sponsored directly as well. While that is harder than harder, it's actually not something that is impossible. It is very much possible. So perhaps Adeolu would be able to shed some light on that from his perspective. But nonetheless, I will still go ahead and talk about a couple of other things. One of the things that I've seen, and I think for me now, in like 2 of my roles, I've been also privileged to be part of like recruitment, which means that like I'm recruiting folks who will come to work with me in my team, for example, and all those kind of things. So I kind of have a perspective of a hiring person in the UK as well. So like, what are the things that you would typically look out for? So let's just hold that thought. I'm going to come back to that. But in my own, from a perspective of someone that is looking for a job, which is what I will start with, what are the things that I have done? This is not even a product designer or product manager thing. It's mostly this. Everyone wants to hire the best person for their team. And when I say best person, if they have a pool of 100 people, they want to make sure that they get the best person. And the best person doesn't necessarily mean the person that has the best skill set. It's someone that has a very good skill set that shows that they could learn quickly, and also a very good person to work with. And for someone that is a minority, especially someone that's just coming straight from Nigeria, one of the key things that you want to quickly establish, not even before you even get the first interview, is that you are someone that is going to bring a spark to the team. Like, you want to bring something different. So right from when people are reviewing your CV, they want to see something different, right? They want to see someone that must have been a giant where they are coming from. And so this guy is going to come in and mix things up for us. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. It will bring a perspective that we are missing, or he or she will bring that perspective. And that's what they want to see, right? So your CV must tell that story, right? For example, if you say, hey, I've been a data analyst in Nigeria, for example, I worked on XYZ, and he just listed those things that he worked on. Yeah, that's right. But looking at your CV, I don't know what that is really. So you probably want to tell me, in the shortest possible lines, you want to say exactly what that is, and also the results you got from that, essentially. And I think results is like super important. Again, see, if you want to be someone that would be good enough for any team whatsoever, you want to brag. And not bragging what you have not done. Again, I would strongly discourage that, but bragging what you have done, right? A lot of us being Christians, Muslim, and all those, we have learned to be very humble, just they say, somebody's praising you, be like, don't worry, don't say anything, no. Even though you did that work, please, when it comes to your work, this is your life, this is your career, this is what would literally change your story. You cannot be humble about it. When you've done work, you would shout it on the mountaintop, and you will tell every single person the result you got from it. For example, and for several of us, we are lucky enough to probably have worked with like startup in Nigeria and all those things, or maybe with a bank or things like that. One thing that Nigeria does for a lot of people, and I think I have to quickly say this, is that as young people, we find ourselves in a situation where we are moving big things at a very young age in Nigeria. That's what Nigeria does for you. If you work with a startup, you're probably like head of something because you are the only person there, whatever. You are moving big things at a very young age. If you're working with a bank, you're probably in charge of like big numbers. even though it's in naira, you want to talk about that. Like, I did X that got us X numbers in this time. That is super important. It doesn't matter what your role is. You're a software engineer. It doesn't really, you work in a feature that brought in $1 billion naira. If you see all of this fintech, they're probably reporting like, I don't know, whatever, in a week they are recording $1 billion transaction. You want to talk about all those kind of things. It's very important. These are the things that make a difference, right, in your CV. So that being said, I'll move on to the next thing. When I moved here, of course, product designer, it doesn't really matter. One of the things that you will realize, maybe for software engineers, they're probably already world class coming from Nigeria, but I doubt it too, because there'll be some things here and there that you still need to level up on. What I do with JDs, when I look at the job that I want in the company that I want, I look at the JDs and I look at the things that they actually said they are expecting me to have. If I look at, there are like 10 items here and I have like only 7, there are 3 of them that I know honestly I don't have it. I try to level up like as much as possible. And I think that's where, places like Utiva actually exist. I try to level up really quickly. If I need to go do a crash course on any platform that would do, I'll quickly have to do that. Especially when I see that such things are coming up across different roles in different companies as something that they need. I would try to level up while I am actually still going through the whole recruitment thinking. That is super important. That's how I see it. So that is, again, and that also being said, it doesn't mean that you have to do 10 over 10. If there are like 10 items listed, you need to have a 10. That doesn't mean you have to do that. But sometimes you look at the things that they've listed and you can tell that this must be a very important part of the requirements that they want me to have, especially those who are like data analysts or software engineers, or those things that require very, very specific hard skills. You probably, you need to know Splunk or one thing, those kind of things. You probably need to go, to go bring it up. And sometimes, your previous role, it doesn't mean that you don't know those things. You could have even known them before, but because your previous role doesn't really rely on you using those skill sets, you realize that you've lost them. You probably want to go brush them up a bit more, especially when you see them coming up across, different job descriptions. So that is super important, and I think that really helped me. That really helped me. And as you notice, I have been talking only about the things you would need to do before you even get called for the first interview. And next, like what Deolu said earlier, is location. There's a friend of mine who actually is moving to the UK soon. Maybe several. And then I told him, I was like, somebody told me that if you go to, what is this place? VLC. There's this place that you go and do biometrics in Lagos. Like some people are handing out UK SIMs and stuff. Maybe they still do that. I don't know if they still do it. I was like, if you go there and they are handing out UK SIM, I beg, grab it and try to get it so that you can put it on your CV. I know someone who actually did that, got a job from Nigeria before landing here. Of course, I know that's a privilege as well. But again, for someone that is open for sponsored job from Nigeria, that is also one extra step in the door, right? If you can get that as well, or someone that could help you in a way. But both ways, what I'm driving towards is location. Location matters a lot. Anything about Nigeria, I've been on interviews where I would be there and then somebody would look at and the first question they would ask me, sorry, Imola, is that your name? I'm like, yes. Where are you calling us from today? They are just trying to use scope to find out whether I'm sitting down in Lagos somewhere and I'm trying to scope them that I am in the UK. If I should mention Lagos, then probably I'm gone, right? So again, you probably want to see how that looks like. So location. That's very, very important. Like Adeolu mentioned. I would also mention a couple of other things. Apologies, I'm almost there. And then sweat the detail, like like I said earlier, when you're doing your CV or your portfolio, and I think like it mentioned also portfolio, CV, sweat the detail in those things. It's not enough for you to say, hey, I'm going to have a portfolio of my work. Like I looked at someone, I was listening out all this portfolio of his work. I was like, okay, how much detail do you have in there? There were no screenshots to show. I know some things are very confidential as well, based on the work that you've done and things like that. You could put like, passwords and stuff in that so that whoever wants to see it can just ask you for specific password and they can go see it. So it will not be in public domain. That's very important. You want to swear the detail, but but not too much detail in such a way that someone will get bored looking at it. Specific detail that shapes a specific narrative of the awesome work that you've done. That is very important. So if you are in any way not clear on how that's supposed to work, look at someone that exists right now that works in the similar role as you have been dreaming about, and reach out to that person and say, could you please share your CV with me or share your portfolio with me? Let me see what that is so that I can use that to shape mine. One of the things that I do, I remember when I was trying to get my first senior product designer role, there's a friend of mine he's been a senior for a while. He's white, and I reached out to him. I was like, see, Baba, share your portfolio with me. Because if the portfolio I will have for mid-level designer has to be different from the one I would need for a senior designer. So I was like, see, share the portfolio with me. And he shared his portfolio with me. I read through it. I got an idea, and I asked him to, if he has some time, he jumped on a call with me, walked me through it. That helped me to put together my own. And that landed me all of my senior roles, essentially, right? Because there's specific things that they are looking out for at specific levels or jobs, depending, right? So you want to reach out to people. Don't close your mouth. Reach out to people and say, hey, could you let me review what I've got, or share your stuff with me so that I can have a look. It's not as though you go and copy it word for word, right? But just look at the general theme. Look at the general things that they are looking for. If you are telling a particular story, what are the key things that they're expecting me to say about this particular project that I've got going on, right? So that's very, very important. So please reach out to people on LinkedIn. You'll be shocked. You'll be surprised as how many people can actually respond to you. But you need to tell them specific things that you want from them, right? And not something that would make their life hard, for example, or would you come and be reviewing here's the link to my CV, let me review and give me feedback tomorrow. The person's not going to do it, right? It has to be something more objective, like, oh, I've done this and that and that and that. This specific area, I'm not so clear. What do you think about it? So try and make the work easier for the person that you want to reach out to. That's super important as well. And then of course, in terms of like jobs, see, I can't tell you especially where I got jobs. For me, my roles has been all from LinkedIn. It has been LinkedIn, and I'm not the most popular person on LinkedIn. The current role I have, I was headhunted, which was cool. I thought that was like really cool to get that. But nonetheless, I've also applied for roles directly on LinkedIn. I've done 3 jobs so far, but I've gotten at least 7 offers, like offer. In fact, I've gotten an offer before, like 2 offers before that within the same time. I just went back to the company. I've signed it too. I went to them and said, see, I'm not doing it again because I got this other company. It's paying me more. They have better name. They have better everything. I'm going. And they're like, no, don't go. We increased the money. I said, don't worry, I'm gone. So that happens. But nonetheless, all of that has come from LinkedIn for me. But all these other websites that Adeolu mentioned, please, they will work for you, especially if you are specific roles like software engineering, data analysis, things that require the right code, for example, or very, very technical bits. That would really, really help you. So please, I'm sure you will share those things with you. I think that's it, so that I don't talk too much. Yeah. Then referrals. I think one last thing. Referrals is big. I have all the companies I work with, at least in the UK here, I think most people still internal recruiters, they find it very easy. It's easier for them to I think I'll quickly then jump into like the perspective of someone that is recruiting. It's easier. You make life easier. Like, so typically you see like a list of like people that have applied for the role, and then inside that list there will be somebody that they will say somebody referred, right? Those people will be the number 1 person on top, essentially. And so if you have somebody if you have someone inside that works in the company that you work, and you say, hey, I'm this and that and that, you'll be shocked. You can even do it coldly reach out to those persons, and they could actually write something for you. Those things would stand your CV out as like on top. Yes, they will still scrutinize you like they will scrutinize other people. See, and let me just be clear about how referrals work. It doesn't mean that they will treat you specially. It's just that they would look at your stuff more favorably, but they won't treat you favorably. So just do that for yourself. At least it gives you that extra boost, essentially. So if you have that, if you know someone, see in Nigeria, especially, that's the easiest way to enter. Me, I'll just look for like there's a Nigerian working there. Baba, I beg, my name is XYZ. There's this role in your company, where can you refer me? And typically they have that. And internally, those companies actually even dash you money. If you refer someone and they hire that person, they'll dash you money. So, and it's good money, really. I think the lowest I've seen so far is like £3,000. So it's a lot of money. So you probably want to explore that as well, especially when you know you've done your homework very well, right? So that is very, very important. Yeah, that's it from me for now. I'm just gonna pause so that Adeola can take over.
Thank you so much. Someone says that where I'm sitting looks like I'm in the prison. Thank you. See, you this YouTuber student, you have big mouths. You can say anything to people. Thank you so much, Imole. This is really good. It's getting really very interesting. I learned some very, very exciting things, here. And let's move to Adiola, and we will now, compile all the knowledge together, and some sort of like ask them
All right.
deep dive questions. Guys, you better be getting your questions ready. These guys are very hard to find, to get. I used Ojoro to get them.
All right. Thanks for
now
that
that they are here,
intro.
ask them
Time.
everything. Adiola, over to
Where
you.
do I begin? So I think I should just reaffirm something that Imole said. So this is the first time Imole and I are actually on the same call together. But I bombarded this guy for referrals before. Like it actually works. I've never met him. I actually do what he actually says, which is I look for Nigerian people working in a place, and I'm like, Baba Alpha, they you get this role, it will fit me. Refer me. So this is the first time. So thank you for always referring me. I've disturbed him like countless times. So thanks for that. So just give you like I think Eitayo did like such an amazing intro for me. I hope I can live up to the hype. But to do like just sort of like a small recap, I have about a decade of experience in technology space. I worked with a few reputable companies in Nigeria, and I also used to be a startup founder. So I've only been in the UK for about a year, so I'm not sure I can, give all the insight that all my Egbo, Adeyemo and Imole have given, but I go try. I go try. But I think like the one thing I can actually give in abundance is empathy, and that's really because like, I came here feeling like hot cake. I came on Global Talent Visa. I'm like, within 2 months, I don't knock one kind 80K, 90K, nothing will happen. Then you start receiving the rejections back to back. You wake up, you see like 50, 100 rejections. And literally, all of a sudden, like your self-esteem starts to erode, man. It starts to decay. You start to go from you're wanting like 100K or 80K. You're like, guy, just give me 45. Just let me enter. In fact, the worst part is you start applying for junior roles. Then the junior roles will tell you are too senior for that role. They're like, guy, what do people want from me? What do people want from me? But like, I think like all of that failure and that rejection made me start to introspect. It made me start to reflect, ask like, what's really going on? Like, what's happening in this space? Because we're meant to be in the land of milk and honey, right? Now, London we did. Even in Nigeria, I never struggled to look for a job. So interestingly, while I was in Nigeria, I actually have never applied for a job. A lot of the jobs I got were through like networks, referrals, or something very interesting I used to do. So what I used to do back in Nigeria is I would basically pitch myself to founders and tell them, hey, I could launch this new thing within your company. I could help you do this. That's how I actually got majority of my jobs. Or, maybe I was like poached. They came here and, guy, I was humbled. They humbled me. But it's in between that, I learned a lot, right? Because so one of the things I usually tell my friends is that like truth is the foundation of all good outcomes. So the question I always try to find out is like, what's the truth? Like, what's really true in this ecosystem? Is it that we are not good enough? Because I really needed to understand. Because I started to assume maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I don't know enough, and that's why I'm not getting these roles. But it really made me start digging deeper. Then one of the interesting things I learned was that, in 2022, there were more than 430,000 layoffs globally, right? This 2022. That same 2022, there are more than 475 tech hires. So 475 tech people were hired globally. Guess how many people are being hired globally this year? It's less than 250K. So think about it. The number of jobs that are available are actually shrinking. That's the first problem, right? So there's like half the number of jobs that are existing. That's number one. Number two is there's not just half the number of jobs, so that's one half of the problem. Second half of the problem is that you have guys that are just as senior as us. In fact, far more senior. I had friends that basically worked at Apple, Spotify, amazing places, out of jobs, could not find a job. And these are people we are competing with. People from China, people from Japan, people from United States, people from Amsterdam, people with companies that they know their name. Like I worked with Number. Number in Nigeria is a big shot. But you come here, who is Number? Nobody has heard of it. If they see it on your CV, you're like, what's this? Never heard of it, right? Maybe except when you put like numbers. And this is where that thing Imole said is very true. Like put numbers. Okay. Put figures. That sounds confusing. Put figures, right? Put figures that, hey, I launched this product that did $100 million, that did this. And they're like, oh, okay, this is ringing the bell. So a lot of the things I'll be sharing will fall into two buckets. I think some are like not practical. I think some is just really like managing your emotional state. I think the most important thing to be able to do is like manage your emotional state. But a large portion of it is just like practical things of what you could try. So if you are struggling, like for people in the UK, they know, like people in the UK actually understand what it is. Like the job market here is tough. Nobody should cap for anybody. You are not going to just come here and like hit it. Yes, I have friends that have been really lucky. And in fact, if I wasn't aware of those people, I would think that it was impossible. But having those people around me that are like getting jobs with PA, getting jobs with like 90K, 100K, like having those people within my circle actually made me realize that, okay, I shouldn't sell myself short. And like these things are possible. But it doesn't mean that it's not difficult. You just have to understand what the landscape is. So where do I start? I'm just sort of going to like walk you through like the different stages within like the recruitment process and the things that have helped me within like just each of stage. So I think the first stage is like, just even getting an interview. Guys, I think it took me maybe like 5 to 6 months before I started getting interviews. Like I apply tire every day. I wake up first in the morning, apply, easy apply on LinkedIn. Nothing. As you're applying, you're seeing the rejection. As you're applying 100 times, you're seeing all the 100 rejections. I'm like, what's going on? And I think for me, this was where I learned probably the most important lesson, which is like building a very, very valuable network of like accomplished people. In fact, like one of the things that I did in Nigeria that I replicated when I moved here was I joined like an accelerator program. And when you join accelerator programs, you sort of meet like high achievers, like people that have really achieved a lot in their different careers that want to start a business. And that's immensely valuable for me because what happened was that I was not around people that have gotten jobs in Google, Facebook, Amazon. Everybody was around me. And like they are your guys, they are now your friends. They are going to go and have lunch together. So you can actually ask them, like, hey, how did you get this job? What happened? So the first lesson I learned was just ATS, automated tracking systems. In Nigeria, I don't think they use that. Maybe large corporations like bank use that. But here, everybody uses it. So the problem is that you wouldn't even get interviews if your CVs aren't like tweaked. So, like, interestingly, I have a friend currently on this call that had been in the UK for about a year. And for over that 1 year, he hadn't even been getting interviews. And he actually came here on Global Talent. It was when I actually now told him that, hey, Baba, like, have you looked at this ATS thing? Then he sent me a CV, then I put it through the ATS. Then he realized that his CV is not even being recognized by the ATS. So for 1 whole year, wasted. Like he wasn't even getting interviews. So that's like the biggest thing, right? So for the ATS, I'm just going to type in the chat the two things, the two tools that worked for me. So people that know me know that I like using free tools. So don't worry, you're not paying for this. So these are the two tools that I currently use. So Resume Rewarded is like the first one you should use, right? Just it helps you just ensure that all the things are aligned. You want to try to get that to a high score, maybe like 70, 80. Then CV Wolf, you compare that against the CV, against the job description. So let's say you have a particular job you want to apply for. It sort of compares both of them. Then it should be like an 80, 70% match. For you to stand a high chance. Otherwise, you're probably wasting your time. So that's like the first thing around like just getting interviews. The other thing I use to get interviews is, the more that I said it's referrals. Reach out to people on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised. It's really, really amazing. Like so many people are willing to help. So many people too will not respond. But at least if you send like 10, if you send at least to 10 people within one company, one will respond. One respond, and that's all you need. That's all you need for a referral. Like one person to just refer you to within a company. All right. So step 2. So okay. So after I started getting interviews, I got into like first stage, right? Then the next thing that will happen is that you have a very, very friendly chat with the interviewer. Like the chat will be going so well. In fact, they'll be sounding as if they are toasting you. You'll be the vibe, you feel like there's connection. The next thing you just see rejection. What's happened now, guy? This thing was going well. Like there was connection, there was Wi-Fi. What's happened? They were just signing rejection. Like, guy, what's happened? So essentially, like I could not figure, and because like you're not getting feedback, you don't even know how to improve. So after this thing kept repeating itself, I remember reaching out to Uju. Uju is like one very experienced PM. She's worked at Softcom. We were chatting. I think I met her on the Global Talent group chat, and we were chatting. And I told her, "Hey, I'm struggling with this." She was doing some mentorship thing on LinkedIn, and that's how we started talking. Then we jumped on a call. Then she asked me to pitch my normal intro. Then I did that, and immediately she just spotted to me why I was faffing. She just pointed to me exactly what I needed to be doing differently. I was like, "Shit, are you kidding me?" So this is the thing that all these guys could not say. So we're all Nigerians, right? If you are doing an interview in Nigeria and it's not going well, within 5 minutes, you already know. Before the end of the call, you already know you're expecting rejection. Here, you will not know. They'll be smiling with you. You'll be wondering. You'll be saying, that guy, they feel me. That guy, they feel. When you get the rejection, you just be like shocked. So essentially, the key advice around this like stage is you really want to look at the job description and pick out the keywords within the job description and mention it while introducing yourself. Like if you don't mention it, I promise you probably are wasting your time. Like it is so important. The worst part is that no one ever tells you. I think that's the most painful part of this. Like no one ever says anything. You just get rejection. That's the feedback. So I think one of the lessons I've learned is like energy doesn't lie. The universe gives you feedback. Feedback in terms of rejection or promotion. Once you get this feedback, even though it's not verbal, it is feedback. Take it. Go and learn the lesson. Right? Go and like dismantle it and figure out what exactly the universe is trying to tell you. Right? So that's stage 1. Let's go to stage 2. So stage 2 is really around hiring managers. So this is like the stage where you speak to the hiring manager. Probably the most important stage. This person is going to be your boss. Here's what's interesting. Saying the answer is not enough. What I started to realize is that they expect you to respond in a specific format. So, like I'm a product manager and I was trying to get product jobs, right? So what you realize is that there are different kinds of questions. There's product execution question, there's metric questions. So when they ask you, okay, how do we calculate the metrics for this particular products, or what are going to be the key metrics? They're not just telling you to give up key metrics. So they are telling you They are asking you for you to describe the process of how you identify the key metrics. So one of the things I've realized about like people over here in the UK or even globally is like they are very process oriented. And there's value to process orientation, because what happens is that when people follow processes, they can all achieve the same outcome. So if I follow a process, Imole follows the same process, we are almost likely to get the same outcome. But if I do it my way, Imole does it its own way, we can arrive at different outcomes. The UK, they are not. So if you fuck up in a job, they are not going to be trying to fire you because you messed up. They are going to be trying to look at the process you followed and the process in place. Because what they'll blame it on is that they'll blame it on the process rather than on the person. Because they try to create processes to protect people, because there's all protection around people's jobs. They can't just fire you anyhow. So they try to ensure that there are the right processes in place to ensure that you deliver consistent and, repeatable, outcomes. So that's one thing around like responding. So the question becomes like, how do I know the right processes? Like there's process for everything. There's process for sales, even for the most ridiculous job like customer service. Sorry, customer service is not ridiculous. No, sorry, please retract that. But even for like the junior roles, right? They expect it in it. So an example is like STAR framework, right? Like it's really important. I try to understand why. So one of the interesting things about following the STAR format is that when you are giving a response, it's very easy. So see, as I'm talking right now, this was not how I planned to say it. It's very easy to go left or go right and just derail. Following a STAR framework forces you down a pathway to give a specific response that they are interested in hearing. So they want to know the result. They want to know exactly your contributions. They want to know the tasks that you had to partake in, right? Those are the key things that they're interested in. So they encourage you to follow the STAR framework just so that they can give the key information. And it's very easy for you to just take a detour and you just start saying stories that doesn't concern them. And when you are saying these stories, like, we're human beings. I'm sure a lot of people on this call have gotten carried away and started pressing their phones. For those of you pressing your phones, I can see you. Anyways, but like they could be like interviewers are people, right? They can get carried away. They can forget exactly what you're saying. They might not even be paying attention to you. But following the STAR framework sort of forces you down a particular path, keeps it short and nimble and sweet. And more importantly, the thing I always encourage people is like try to summarize everything you've said at the end of the response. So, like you're giving a response, they ask you a question, you're giving a response, summarize it and say, "This is how I've answered your question." Just so like you're emphasizing, so they don't get excuse. Like you asked for this, I'm saying this again, no, in case you didn't get it the first time. I'm saying it clearly. This is the answer to the question that you asked. Because I remember interviewing for a job at Amazon, and I asked the lady for feedback. And do you know what she told me? She told me that next time when I ask you to answer a question, answer the question. Because I said a lot, but I did not answer the question. It's so easy not to answer a question. It's ridiculous. Like for those of us that have actually interviewed people, it's very easy to go and answer something completely different from what they asked you. And that's just because like when you're interviewing, you're nervous. You're scared. Especially maybe when you desperately need the job. That's even the worst one. Like you are more likely to fail. So it's better to just have like scripts, have everything put in a STAR framework. That way you're likely not to go off course. So I'm spending a lot of time on this. I'll try and move on. Yeah, okay. So summarize your responses. I think there's usually sometimes like where there's a third step where you have to like do some exercise or some. It's not compulsory, but I'm just trying to keep it like broad so something that applies for everybody. I think the third step is like culture interview. To be very honest, I think, and this is what the thing that has given me the most amount of sanity. If you are getting to the final stage, which is like the culture interview, it's no longer about skills. You've been able to prove your skills at this point. Now it's more about flavor, right? So like at this point, some people like oranges, some people like apples. You've already proven that you have skills. If you are getting rejections at this stage, you don't have a personal challenge. Like, it's no longer a problem of competency. It's not a problem of the company might not think, or the team members might not think you're an ideal fit. So, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself if you're getting to this stage. I think at this point, what you just need to focus on is like consistency, like just constantly like getting to that final stage until you find the one that is a good fit for you. What else? So I think the other thing is like just following the trends, right? So I think this is more like generic knowledge of like not very practical, but things that have helped me. Like, so for example, when I could not get a job, I literally, me and my friends that were all looking for the same role, we created a group chat and we started sharing tips and like different things, right? Because like I said, the biggest thing you're going to struggle with is that emotional support, like that emotional state of being. Because there's a problem, like in UK, bills are monthly. And like, let's say you come here with a certain amount of savings, you will know, say, guy, this money goes to finish. And you don't want to go work at Tesco or want some job that you hate. So you're like, guy, I need this thing, I need inflows. So you need like that emotional support or people you can talk to, especially when they are going through the same thing. So we created a group chat where basically like sharing jobs to each other, helping each other get referrals, and like sharing tips to each other on how to improve. The other thing I've also learned, and I think this is probably the most important thing, and this is the thing that I've seen being most effective, and it's very counterintuitive. I think the problem is that when people are trying to get jobs, they spray and pray. So they just want to apply for every type of job. So they apply for marketing, they apply for sales, they apply for customer service. And I think is probably the most ineffective way to get a job. So instead of casting like a wide net, probably what you need is like a fishing rod. But in order to do that, you have to sort of be very clear on what you want. And like, I think it's not just like a job thing, it's also a life thing, like trying to find a life partner or trying to achieve your goals in life. You have to sort of define it very clearly and like have it written down and just keep emphasizing on like, this is the thing you want. And so for some weird reason, it always works. That thing that you're seeking for will come find you, right? Like, for example, what job role do you want? What level do you want? What kind of company? Do you want it to be in a big tech company? Do you want it to be in a smaller company? Do you want it to be in a startup, a bank? Like, just be very clear. How much salary? Define all these things clearly, because like that helps you now become very strategic with the road. More importantly, when you're asking people for referrals or like it's a lot easier for them to help you when what you are requesting for is very, very specific. And like, I think the last thing I have to just say is like, I genuinely wish you best of luck in your journey. Because like, if you're in the UK, man, you need all the help and support you need. I wish you best of luck in your journey. If there's any way I can help you, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think Eitayo shared my LinkedIn profile. So I hope this was helpful to everyone.
Thank you. This is really helpful. Adeo started really mildly, just showing you where all the platforms are, and then Imole being a little bit more, telling you more about the things that you should be doing. Adeolu started with the platforms. Make sure you're on LinkedIn. Make sure your LinkedIn profile, because if you're not visible, if you're not seen, it's so difficult, for you to then get the value. Then Imole took it from the platform to the process. I think for me, in one of the things that Imole talked about that I really find interesting and resonates with me a lot is, if you really want to get to a point that someone has got into, then ask the person to give you the tool that he used to get there. So if you're looking to get into a role that someone has gotten into, look for people who have gotten there and tell them to share their CVs with you so that you can reflect on it and model that around, yours. Then Adiola empathized a lot, sharing what the reality actually looks like. What the reality looks like. One of my mentees came to my DM today and told me he wanted to access international opportunities. So I shared my deck, my opportunity deck with him. And the guy then realized that I'd applied for 106 opportunities this year and I'd only gotten 4. So I told him, I said, apply for 106. When you get 4, go and give testimony in church. Because you have to be ready to apply. You know, it is when we are celebrating 1 that you know. But you don't see the 500 and 1,000 applications that we're doing. You know, so Adiola talked about a few things that I really, really love. You know, Imola talked about a few things that I think you need to watch this video again and again and again. Then Ademo talked about some platforms, because if you're not seen, if your LinkedIn, if your CV is shitty, you know, it's so easy for people who have those standards to reject you. I hope you guys are getting value. Now we have 15 more minutes to go. 15 more minutes, because these guys are family people. They've got great families. People are going to start you know, before you start seeing daughters and sons jumping on the call, saying, Daddy, where are you? Guys, your questions. Now, I'm not going to answer your questions if they are in the chat room. I would only call your questions out if they are in the question chart, in the questions box. The second thing I want to mention is that so many things that you talked about are practical things. So I will be hosting a practical session on how to do some of the things that I talked about. So for example, ATS, every single person on this call, you need to upload your CV on ATS and even see if, you know, you meet some level of standards. You know, Adiola, for example, talked about the STAR model for, I think, when I was trying to get a scholarship to do my master's. You know, that was when I learned about the STAR model for answering questions. So, for example, if they ask you, hey, tell me, how do you handle pressure as a product manager? You need to use the STAR model. And the STAR model talks about number 1, give an example of a situation. A situation. You know, hey, you can say something like, hey, in my previous role, when I was with X company, we had a critical problem, or we had a critical product that had a deadline for a major client. You know, but there was a technical issue. It was out of my control. There was an external dependency that delayed the development phase. You know, it created significant pressure, you know, on the product team, and we couldn't meet the launch date. That's the situation. Then what did you do? What's the task? As a product manager, I did X, Y, Z. So say, you know, what's the action? And then talked about the results. So we need to get it more practical, so that it's not just theory that you have heard. You know, you've heard the framework, you've heard the strategy, you've heard the approaches, you know. So I will be taking you away from this session and get you into a practical 2-hour session where we're going to do real work. Okay, so let's take some of the questions here. Anyone that wants to answer, just jump on it. Do you think the reality of highly technical guys in the job market is different from non-technical guys? I think Femi just want to know, simple. Should I go technical and should I not go technical? You know, what would you recommend? This is a question that you might want to answer. Another question is, what are the prospects for cybersecurity jobs in the UK? I once interviewed in London, got to the second stage and didn't hear from them again. Once. What Adiola just told you is that you must be 500 times doing it, not just once. 500 once, not just once. There are opportunities there in the UK for business, and are there opportunities there in the UK for business analysts? Please, guys, just pick the ones you want to answer. Someone says, please, how can I leverage visibility on LinkedIn as someone transitioning from non-technical field? For example, I'm a microbiologist transitioning to product management. And so far, I only have 1 year's experience in product management. do I build a separate LinkedIn profile? Let's take this ones and then I will get you. Anyone you want to answer, please feel free to take them. It doesn't have to be sequential. It could be.
So I think I just saw one
anyhow.
from Ugo.
Anybody just unmute, please.
Is it possible to get the well-paying job without undergoing higher education? Absolutely. So I've never actually used my bachelor's degree. Like none of my employers have seen it till today, and I have like a decade of experience in different roles. So it's highly possible. In fact, I would even encourage most people now to focus on like skills than certifications. So
yeah, that's right. And I have to say that I've never used my certificate as well. I've founded businesses, I've worked with companies and stuff. No one has ever hacked me for that. Maybe because the CCA, first degree on my CV, maybe that helped. Those. But nobody has actually hacked me to submit my first degree or whatever. So I'm not sure that is something. I don't have a master's degree, and I probably earn more than I know I earn more than a lot of people that's got that, even a PhD at the moment. So again, the skill will probably be the number one thing that you wanna focus on. So
technical. Yeah.
I think there's one more question around that Femi asked around highly technical guys. There was reality versus those who are very technical. I would say though that at the moment, I think that the job market is just hard everywhere. Like it's just red. I think it's becoming better now. Slightly like you've seen companies started hiring on LinkedIn. Does that mean that it still is easy? I mean, there's been just like what Adeola was saying earlier. There's been a lot of people flung out into the job market. So now that companies are coming back to hire, they are not hiring to replace what they lost earlier. So it's still very difficult. But that being said, I think that it's maybe slightly more slightly more easier if you are core technical over if you are not. Mostly because if you think about it, like I work in tech companies. The number of engineers we have in those companies are always more than non-coding colleagues. Essentially, it's just the truth. I'm a product designer, for example. I sit between, typically I probably have like cross-functional, like 3 that I'm working with. It's just one guy working across those things, whatever, for example. But those things have like backend engineers, front-end engineers, all those engineers there, essentially. So for software engineers, they will definitely, companies recruit and require a lot more of them. So that means that there'll be more opportunities. But on the flip side, it's also harder to become one. So that sort of sieves the amount of people that goes through that, essentially. But that doesn't mean that it's easier for them to, right? The market is just shitty generally.
Yeah, I just want to add something.
Say, hopefully that answers your question, essentially. But Adeola, you may want to add 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, because he's technical. So let me just add something very quickly. I think I was just checking broadly, like the jobs that are actually getting the most amount of openings right now, machine learning engineers and data engineers. So because like there's so much funding going into the AI space, like they are hiring a plethora of this skill set. And if you think about innovation, the people that actually experience it the most are the technical skills. So when a new technology comes out, they are going to need technical skills. So they're always going to have that advantage over non-technical people. So I'll let
you. Yeah, that's right. Because talking as from a technical perspective, one thing about technicality is you just have to always keep upgrading yourself and keeping abreast of the latest technology. Right now, it's the AI bubble, and of course, everyone is trying to get the best talent out there. I'm a person who started out there as a mobile developer. I started as a mobile developer. Today, I'm a full stack developer. From mobile, I moved to become a backend engineer. From backend engineer, now I'm a full stack engineer, even though I haven't written mobile in like 2-3 years now. And I started out as a mobile engineer. Right now, I'm already diving into AI space because that's the next big thing out there. So, of course, you don't want to get yourself caught unguarded. Yeah, then also there was a question in the just like I'm in Nigeria, do I navigate to get a well-paid remote job as location has always been a challenge? Well, yeah, I understand the fact of location, but however, I can tell you can still do it because when I was in Nigeria, I still got like I worked like two, 3 US company when I was in Nigeria. And like I mentioned earlier, as a technical person, one thing you need is visibility because yeah, Nigeria is already playing us 1-0 because our location is already against us. But I'll notwithstanding, you still just have to like make yourself visible. If you can make yourself visible and recruiters get to see you, it's about poaching can work for you from Nigeria. Poaching works for me. I got poached from with the US company before I left Nigeria, and even till now it's still there, but just that the scale at which I get poached now is different from when I was in Nigeria. Of course, I get poached more now than when I was in Nigeria. So it's about creating that visibility and being able to sell yourself. And LinkedIn work for me as a person. So there are other platforms out there. Yeah. Then also another question that I also wanted to answer was someone mentioned that seeking for referral position from company and you reach out to Nigerians and probably they never respond to you. Well, never take that to the heart because the truth is a lot of people are busy and especially people in the especially people in the tech space. Someone, for example, someone like me, I get a lot of DMs in my LinkedIn. So sometimes though, probably weekends, I just try to like flip through my LinkedIn to say messages I've got. So there are folks out there that might just be in the same similar situation. So don't let that deter you from sending out more messages. All you need is just a yes, just like Adiola mentioned earlier. All you need is just a yes. That doesn't. You shouldn't stop at reaching out to people to get your referral. Yeah, just a yes would get you to the door, and yeah, that's it from me.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There are, I mean, I wish we could go on and on with all the questions. Um, we don't have the time. We've been on this session for about 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I like to respect, the time of our guest because, I mean, if we don't respect their time today, how do we then get them, to attend our sessions in the future? So most of the questions here have been answered. If your questions are not answered, feel free to send me an email. Today is about jobs, in the UK. And remember, I mentioned that we are going to have another session. I think one thing that is said in a very subtle way, they said it without saying it, is if you can, try to know a little bit about coding, if you can, if it's possible for you, just explore the coding space, just play around with it. We're not saying you should go and become a software engineer yourself, but just having a little bit of technical understanding, because most of the guys you're going to work with are technical. Yeah, if they're saying some terms, you want to really understand what they're saying. Just to give you a bit of insight. Guys, remember, you can follow them on LinkedIn. Follow them on LinkedIn. But there's one thing I want you all to do for me before we end this session. Go on our Instagram. Two things. Go on our Instagram. Guys, follow Utiva on our Instagram. That's the first thing. And do me the favor of saying a very big thank you, to Imole, to Adeyemo, to Adiola. We didn't pay them to do this. They did it for free. They gave all this wisdom, all this knowledge, for free. So guys, please share them, celebrate them for us, follow us on Instagram, and let's celebrate them together. Remember, this is not where we are stopping. No, we're not going to stop here. They taught us a lot of things. And we're going to have another session, to practice some of the things that they taught us. Because I'm a very big fan of practice. They say practice makes you perfect, right? I don't know if we can ever attain perfection. Follow us on Instagram. Don't just say thank you. Follow us and say thank you to them.
Can
on
I
your
add
Instagram,
one more thing?
On your Instagram. Maybe you should take a
I think, like,
screenshot of
just
this.
to conclude.
Yeah, please
I
go
think,
ahead.
like,
Please go ahead.
in spite of all the rejections, there was something I heard, which is like, you don't have what you want because you're not as good as who you are. And this might not be an absolute truth, but one of the things that actually helped me, like, really improve my self-esteem is, like, just continuously learning. Because what happens is that while you are going through this process, you can start to feel less of yourself. And in order to, like, correct for that, just continuously improving yourself and continuously learning. So, like, listening to podcasts, taking courses, like this, like, literally I started ramping up courses just because, like, I needed to, because, like, sad truth is I did not know I was black until I moved to this country. There's just something weird when you're in this of, like, all white people and you're a black person. You can start to feel strange. And, like, what helped me just really boost and start to feel equal was just improving on my knowledge. So I can't overemphasize on that. That just helps you balance the self-esteem thing, because no matter how good you feel internally, the external stuff will start to get into you if you're not careful. I just thought this was worth mentioning because, like, it was really, really important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. If you're going to thrive in a space, you need to be ready for the rejection. You just honestly have to be ready for the rejection. The great people you see, the great people that you admire, I'm happy that it's coming from them anyway, experience lots of rejection. And it's okay. I mean, it's okay to go through the rejection. But what is not okay is to let it get into you, and get it to affect you. That's not okay. And remember, I said that some of the tips, some of the things that we learned today, we have to practice it. So for example, how do you reach out to someone, for help, for referrals? I get lots of emails, lots of LinkedIn messages, but some of these messages are disgusting when I get them. They're disgusting. See, in my inner spirit, I'm sad for the person that sent me the message, because I mean, you need my help. Come on, at least you should know my name. You should know how to. That's the basic fundamental thing. You can't ask for my help and you spell my name wrongly. I will not accept it. But that one will not accept. You see, I'm angry right now. Someone sent me a message, was asking me to connect him to another friend CEO, and spelling my name a T tire. I'm like, I won't forgive you for this. This is like the basic thing you show. We need to practice some of these things, because I mean, I know it's hard, but some of these guys that you're asking them for referrals, you're asking them for this help, they are people with standards. There are people with standards. So I sent a message to one of my mentors years ago. This guy has got a PhD, a doctorate, and I just said, hi, XYZ name, and he corrected me, said it's hi doctor, it's hi doctor, because some of these guys, when you're a doctorate degree is not something you get by eating pizza and drinking wine. You get it by working hard for 6 years. So, and then the heart of flattery, just being able to appreciate someone and say, oh, I love the work that you've done. I'm excited that you did this and this, all these little things. Let's practice it. Adeola talked about the STAR methodology, the STAR method. Let's practice, let's walk, let's get our hands dirty. Let's get our hands dirty. Mole talked about asking people who have gone through the process that you want to get into, ask them for your CV. But what do you do with it? Let's practice this thing in our next session. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I quickly say something? I think someone dropped the message and was like around cybersecurity. I think mentioned not said anything about that. I think it's mostly because nobody on the course actually calls cybersecurity, but nonetheless, my wife's a cybersecurity manager, so she's like, so I know about all of those things that's happening there. One thing though that I would say is really about getting. So when it says what are the prospects of cybersecurity job in the UK, I know that just like every other thing I mentioned, it's a little bit. What it is. But one thing that I would say is that if you are just getting into cybersecurity, try to look at the technical aspect of it. Most of the people that get into cybersecurity nowadays get into it from like GRC's, perspective, all those documentation aspect of it where you want to be a cybersecurity analyst and stuff. It's always like the lowest hanging fruit. But what that means is that it becomes really crowded very quickly. And this is because companies don't hire so many of them, right? You probably have like a very big company that has like 1,000 people, probably only has like 2 people and the cybersecurity, maybe 3, right? Unlike software engineers, for example. But even in that, you probably have one cybersecurity analyst and a security engineer, for example. If you are, the more technical you are on the cybersecurity side, say for example you are doing DevSecOps and all those jazz, the more valuable you will become, the easier it is for you to get a job. Essentially, it's like data as well. Data analysis is like the lowest hanging fruit, sorry to say. Then you have to move up to the science, data engineering, and all those things. Those ones are a little bit, and you command more money that way, and respect. So if you're just getting into the field, I would say look more into how to be more technical. My wife hires people, so I know what she's looking for. Like she's literally looking for security engineers, for example, and not so many of them, especially Nigerians. Everybody's GRC. You don't want to be in that pool. It's just too crowded, right? That is a way to distinguish yourself. And Utiva is here for you, essentially. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Adiola, thank you. Mole, thank you. Adeyemo, thank you. I know your night is busy already. Enjoy yourself. Interestingly, 93% of people on the call say they got super good value for the session. I will share the recordings with you, immediately we are done with the session. Enjoy your night. Remember, if you want to get into into the tech space, you want to learn a technology skill. You want to learn a technology skill. We are always here for you. Data analytics, data science, cloud computing, cybersecurity, software engineering, UI, UX design, technology sales, business analysis, product management, product and digital marketing, any skill you want to learn. Utiva has got you covered. Enjoy yourself. Have a beautiful night. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you, our guests.